People want to know what are some of the cheapest and safest countries for digital nomads, expats, investors, and entrepreneurs. We're going to discuss several places that are both cheap and safe. A budget of $800 to $1,300 will give you a decent life in the places we're about to discuss. I know that this type of budget is probably not going to cut it in most places, but the places that I have in mind for you today will offer you good value for your money, and it is indeed possible to live for as little as $800 to $1,300 per month. The first country that I would like to discuss with you in today's video that I think really fits the list of cheap and safe places is Portugal, the country located on the Iberian Peninsula. When most people hear Portugal, they automatically think about Lisbon. And Lisbon itself is not a cheap place, and in fact you're probably going to have a hard time getting by on $800 to $1,300 a month. I'm going to give you now 3 cities that I believe give you a great quality of life and good value for your money. Setúbal, just south of Lisbon, is a fantastic city where you can definitely have a good life for $1,000 to $1,300. And the good part about Setúbal is that it's pretty close to Lisbon. So if you want to go on trips regularly, you know, it's just a short drive to Lisbon airport. And a lot of people like Setúbal, and in fact more and more people are moving to that city because of its proximity to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. Setúbal is definitely much cheaper than Lisbon, especially when it comes to rentals. Because Lisbon, I mean, it has seen an incredible rise in apartment prices, making it very difficult and very challenging for a startup entrepreneur, for a digital nomad, for a low-income individual to live in Lisbon while still being able to afford a good life. But that is no problem in Setúbal, because renting apartments is much cheaper than in the capital. Setúbal also got the ocean, it has good climate, a beautiful scenery, and you get pretty much the same features as you'd get in a city like Lisbon. You're still living in Portugal, you're still going to be able to enjoy phenomenal European cuisines, enjoy the beautiful architecture of Southern Europe, and also it's a shorter drive if you want to go down to the Algarve region. So I think in terms of location, Setúbal is actually a great city. Portimao is another place I wanted to discuss with you because it is located in the Algarve region in Portugal, which is definitely one of the better regions when it comes to weather. And it is a great region because it is also a little bit cheaper than Lisbon. And that holds especially true for Portimao. Portimao has the best weather on the mainland. So when it comes to Portugal, right? Obviously there's also the island of Madeira, which definitely has better weather than Portimao, but it's pretty isolated. So I think that Portimao is definitely in a good location with just a 2.5-hour drive to Lisbon. So it's definitely very doable. You can take buses. There are very good bus connections and also train connections if you should decide to take the train or the bus from the southern part, from the Algarve region to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. And again, you get very much the same deal, right? It's still Portugal. I mean, food, you still get the amazing cuisines that you would also be able to enjoy in a place like Porto or Lisbon. So it doesn't really change in terms of what you're going to be able to enjoy on a day-to-day basis. And you definitely have great access to beach options when you live in the Algarve region. You can also, you know, if you want to maybe buy a car or rent a car, or if you want to take the bus, it's pretty easy to get around. You can go to Lagos, you can go to Faro. I mean, you have plenty of options there. Shouldn't get bored. But one thing I have to say is that if you want to live in the Algarve region, there's definitely less entertainment available than in Lisbon. A lot of retirees from England, Germany, France move to the Algarve region to enjoy the warm weather year-round. So if you want more of like a networking scene and like events, so if you want to stay in like Setúbal, that's probably where you should be. The last place I wanted to give you is Leiria, which is located in central Portugal. It's a much smaller city, but you still get the Portugal enjoyment in terms of cuisines, landscapes. You know, it's just a very short drive to the ocean if you want to enjoy a walk, or if you want to, go swimming. I mean, you have all these options available even if you live in central Portugal. Leiria is also one of the cheapest options in Portugal. And I haven't really pointed out how safe Portugal is, but it truly is one of the safest countries on the whole planet. I mean, it consistently ranks at least in the top 10 and very often in the top 7 or 8 safest countries in the world. Rape and murder is very rare in Portugal. Very rare. Less serious crimes can happen, but they're also very unlikely to happen, especially in a place like Portimao, Setubal, and Leiria. Next up, we have the Philippines. The Philippines has long been known as the pearl of the ocean. It's a phenomenal place for the nature lover, the beach lover, a person who enjoys outdoor life. And one of the other good things about the Philippines is that you can really have a good dating life. So if you're like a single guy and you want to go to Asia, you want to have the experience, then you can definitely have that. The Philippines is a phenomenal place because it is very liberal when it comes to visa policy. So you can go to the Philippines on a tourist visa, and depending on your nationality, you get 24 to 36 months. That is a tourist visa, and you initially get 30 days and then extend it, and you just pay a fee, and this is how you can remain in the country. Most people in the Philippines speak English, so that's also one of the good points. Here are a couple of places that I recommend in the Philippines that are great depending on what you're looking to get out of life. The first place I want to talk with you about is Cebu City. The reason why I mention Cebu City is because it is one of the most developed cities in the country, and it has a great entrepreneur scene, it has a great digital nomad scene, even if it's less obvious. There's a lot of people, a lot of remote workers living in Cebu, and they have a very special place, a very special area called IT Park and Business Park, where most of these IT people are located at. So if you want to make friends with people that work online or that run a company in the Philippines, then I think Cebu City is a phenomenal place for you. Cebu City offers a lot of great options when it comes to shopping malls, also entertainment, surprisingly, because a lot of people think as Cebu City as a place for retirees, which it definitely is, but you also have to understand that there is a younger community there as well. So it's not going to be difficult, like I told you early on, for you to make friends with people there. You can definitely get an apartment starting from $200 to $300 in the city. Now, that's obviously not going to get you something that's really great, but if you're a single guy, if you're a single woman looking to move to the Philippines, then that is definitely a starting point. $200 to $300 gets you a studio, and I would say $500 to $700 would get you a decent 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in Cebu City, and also very possibly in one of the more popular, the more modernized areas such as IT Park and Business Park. Also, from Cebu City you have flights to many locations in Asia, and you even have flights to the United States. You can enjoy 250 to 300 pesos per hour massages, so that's like $5 to $7 per hour. So absolutely amazing what you get for your money in Cebu. Puerto Princesa in Palawan is another great place that you can have a look at if you really want to live in the Philippines. Now, Puerto Princesa is a much smaller city than Manila and Cebu City, so you obviously have less entertainment options there, but it is world famous for its beauty, for its beautiful beaches, and one of the most iconic, most unique, most incredible beach towns, El Nido. $200 to $250 is going to get you a studio apartment in Puerto Princesa. Now, if you want to live outside the city, chances are you can find something for even less than that. But if you want to have a Western style, high quality condominium apartment, it's definitely gonna get pricier. But with that budget that I had in mind, the $800 to $1,300, you can definitely have a very fine life in Puerto Princesa. The last place in the Philippines that I wanted to give you is Tagbilaran, Bohol. Bohol is known for the chocolate hills. It's, I believe, a 2 or 2.5 hour ferry ride from Cebu City, making it very accessible in case you want to take a flight out of Cebu City, which definitely has an international airport that would allow you to get to places like Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, and even the United States, as I mentioned earlier. It offers good value for the money, so I thought I'm going to put it on the list of top locations to consider in the Philippines. The last country I wanted to talk with you about is Malaysia. It's located in Southeast Asia, and it's long been called the king of Southeast Asia because it offers a lot in terms of cultures. You know, there's 3 cultures in Malaysia. In West Malaysia, there's the Malay, Chinese, and the Indians. And on the other side, East Malaysia, you actually have more cultures. You have the Malay, the Chinese, the Indian, and actually the dominant culture, ethnicity group are the Ibans and also Bidayu. That holds true for Sarawak. It is not only a diverse country in terms of cultures, but also in terms of sceneries. So you got mountains, you got beaches, you know, you got Penang on the west side, and you got Genting Highlands just outside of Kuala Lumpur. Then you have the big metropolitan Kuala Lumpur. You have Johor Bahru, which is just a very short trip away from Singapore. And then, as we already talked, we also have East Malaysia, which is on the island of Borneo, where one of the oldest rainforests in the entire world is located. So I think Malaysia is very diverse. It offers a lot in terms of landscapes, sceneries, food, people, culture, just great experiences through and through. It is also one of the cheapest and I would say best value deals in Southeast Asia. Here are 3 cities in Malaysia that you can choose from and have a really phenomenal life for $800 to $1,300. Penang, located in West Malaysia, not too far from the Thai-Malaysian border. It's an island, and it has a lot of really good things to offer, I believe. Georgetown is the capital of Penang, but what's really interesting about Penang is that you can really get an amazing apartment for little money. I mean, you can get a fully furnished apartment for as little as 1,300 ringgit. I mean, this is an amazing deal because 1,300 ringgit is like what? $310, $320, I believe, which definitely is a total bargain. Unlike Kuala Lumpur, you know, the big metropolitan that everyone gets so excited about, Penang offers a more relaxed beach lifestyle. But it still has a lot of the traits that you get in Kuala Lumpur, such as the phenomenal outdoor food experience. And in fact, Penang street food is world famous. Some of the best street food you will ever eat. You can also enjoy soft sandy beaches and tropical weather throughout the year, making it perfect for the outdoor sports lover, for the beach lover. Next up, we have Kuching, which is located on the island of Borneo. That is East Malaysia, completely different part, completely different people, very different atmosphere, very affordable. In fact, housing prices are very comparable to Penang, so it's extremely inexpensive for Western standards. One of the things that really holds true for Kuching, Sarawak, is that there's very few foreigners living there. So it's not like Kuala Lumpur, you know, where you're gonna see a bunch of foreigners at every corner. In fact, in Kuching, when I initially arrived in Kuching in 2011, you know, it was not a surprise by any means if I didn't see another Westerner for a couple of days in a row. In fact, it was mostly like that. It's full of temples and culture, and if you want to still have a bit of a beach lifestyle experience, you can do so. You can have that when you drive up north to Setubal, Sarawak. It's not the nicest beach, but you still get the Penang vibe. There's also some food courts there. 1,300 to 1,500 Malaysian ringgit is going to get you a very decent Western style 2 to 3 bedroom apartment in Kuching, the capital of Sarawak. So that's $300 to $400 per month. Last, we have KOTA KINABALU, which is Sabah. Again, a different part, still on the island of Borneo. Sabah has the best beaches in whole Malaysia. It's very close to the Philippines, close to Palawan. And the sceneries, I mean, they're just phenomenal. You're gonna love it if you want the beach lifestyle. One thing I have to say is that renting is definitely more expensive in KOTA KINABALU. You have nicer beaches, but you also pay a little bit more for your apartment or house. But I do believe it's still a good deal. You get good value for your money. Have you visited or lived in any of the discussed countries? If so, what was your experience? Are there any other countries that would fit these safe and cheap criteria that we did not discuss today? Leave a comment below and let us know. Also subscribe and turn on alerts to receive a notification when I upload the next video on the best digital nomad, expat, entrepreneur and investor locations. Thank you for watching.